Well, in the Terratin incident, the Enterprise helps out the little guy. Yeah, well, they're checking out an old supernova or something like that. And then they get this weird signal from a planet that seems to be an old Earth code, which kind of, harkens back to, the cage and stuff like that. Let's go see. And then even where no man's gone before, they get a signal. And all the warnings are there, but, well, yeah, they didn't listen. Anywho, this time they decide third time's the charm. This should turn out all right. So they go to this planet, and they don't really find anything. And they beam back, and they suddenly begin to notice, hey, something's a little off. They're all shrinking. And the Enterprise was bathed in this particular radiation that is causing them to just keep on shrinking. And McCoy says, well, they're going to keep shrinking. Certainly beyond their ability to control the ship and whatnot, and probably would pass into another reality as they shrink out of the atomic structure of the universe. Yeah, you get the idea. But so they got to figure out what to do, and so they're so they got to have all these struggles of climbing around and trying to get to this room and that. Or they try to figure it out. Of course, once again, the answer is staring them in the, well, maybe not staring them in the face, but they've done it before, and it's the transporter. They've already been through this. And of course, like I keep saying, the transporter is the power of God. You just revert back to their original state, which they do. Of course, Kirk volunteers to be the first guinea pig, and they beam him down to the planet, and he's back to normal. Interestingly enough, the communicator wasn't, but they had to craft one that worked for it. Anyway, he discovers, there is this small city, and they figure, hey, it's these people, they did it to us. But it wasn't an attack. They just wanted to be able to communicate to them because they were in dire straits as their planet's about to be destroyed, supernova and all that. And so the Enterprise, they tell them, well, no harm done, because they figured out how to cure the deal. So Kirk was able to beam them back and forth, and they all come back and get restored. And so then they beam the whole city, and it fits right on a single platform. And within the it looked a little bigger on the planet, but they can't restore them because they've been in this condition for generations. They were some lost colony, and this radiation or whatever it is affected them and shrunk them down. So my guess is the Enterprise crew wouldn't have kept shrinking. They would have reached a maximum point, and would not have gone beyond the subatomic level and all that. So unless, of course, they had to be on the planet in order to stop it. I don't know. But anywho, so that's the deal. This is one of these ideas. It's not revisiting anything, but it is something you think, well, theoretically, they could have done this on the show. It probably wouldn't have looked all that great. But then, you basically shoot the Enterprise set and all that. And then you got your actors running around. Well, back then it would be blue screen, I guess. And then it would have looked pretty crappy, though. But there was, Land of the Giants and all that sort of stuff. So, I don't know. They might have been able to do it. Probably not every scene. That was they had this scene where Nurse Chapel falls into an aquarium, and Kirk has to go save her and all that. It's going to be quite costly to film something like that. So they probably would have had to have kept the scenes to a minimum and all that. As they probably would have shrunk a lot slower as time went on through the show, and then they would have realized, oh no, it's some guys on the planet and all that. So anyway, they find another planet for them, kind of like what Superman ends up doing with Kandor. And so the Terratins can live happily ever after as the size of cockroaches. So anyway, there it is. But once again, the transporter, it's cool. It was a cool solution to their initial problem. They thought shooting the shuttle, leaving the ship, and landing on the planet would be too costly, so they just we'll just say they teleport down. So they came up with the transporter, they beamed down and all that. Even though they eventually had the shuttle in the show, they show it leaving the bay at the back of the ship, and all that. And they could have just done that, but I don't know. There again, I mean, having to move the prop around and all that. Maybe that was just like a couple episodes, maybe, but not all the time. But the transporter is just really cool. But it's the mechanics of it, the mechanism of it, is that you can literally take matter and rearrange it into something else. Now all they do is beam them back and forth. But then the technology you would have to conclude is similar to what the replicator does, where it just takes matter and based on the patterns that it has programmed in it, can just take a brick and turn it into a hamburger, and that's all it has to do. So it's the ultimate in alchemy in space. But good Lord, that is the power of God. And it's the earlier episode where they were all old and they just beamed, which is a better solution than what they did in the actual show, where the Spock says, hey, you know what, let's just beam down and beam back up, but reset our patterns and stuff. So it's kind of a ginormous plot hole throughout Star Trek, in a sense, because a lot of things could be easily solved by it. Some further thinking would have to go into it to say, well, you can't use it in this situation because fill in the blank. But boy, I tell you, I can't think of what that would be. So once again, hey, you know how when we were all old because those women seduced us and sucked all our youth out, and so we needed the transporter to set us back. Although technically speaking, I have to wonder, would Kirk, Spock, and McCoy, the crew members that were aged, could they remember that incident? Because if you're resetting them to the state they were in when they originally beamed down, then their memories and whatnot would be at that moment, I would think. Maybe not. Anywho, once again, transporter saves the day because, like I said, it's the power of God. But being shrunk down is quite a continuous trope from a lot of old shows. And had the show continued, I'm sure they would have gotten to it eventually. But here they are in the animated version. And it's not that bad of an episode. It's pretty good, actually. But again, the transporter. It sure is something. Oh, well. Thanks for watching and listening. Say, while you're still here, why not like and subscribe and share with your many friends? Yes. Also, check out my mini stores in the link description below. Yes, where you can get t-shirts, hats, mugs, all those goodies with my artwork on them. Oh, yeah. And head over to indieplanet.com and pick up a copy of my comic book, Night Night. Oh, yeah. You can also catch me at my podcast, Mr Nailsin Show, on RadioMisfits.com. And you can also watch my videos on BitChute.com and now on Rumble.com. Oh, my goodness, so many places to watch me and my stuff. Oh, yeah. And if that's not enough for you, well, you can follow me on many social media platforms and say hi to your old pal, Mr. Nailsin.